What's up, everybody? Welcome to another great episode of the GOOYOW Now Show. Today, I am very excited to have on the one, the only David Meltzer. He is a complete badass, if I do say so myself. I actually didn't know anything about you until I met you through Cole Hatter and Thrive. And then, so real quick story, you challenged us all at his mastermind to send you, I think it was a thumbs up or a smiley face every day for 2 weeks. And literally, there was like one night at day like 13 or like 12, maybe. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning and I was just about to fall asleep. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't send it yet. and I don't know. And anyways, it has stuck with me. And ever since then, I don't know. I've been following your stuff and I love it. And I think that everyone on my audience is going to love hearing from you as well. So thank you for being on. I know that's a crazy intro, but appreciate it.
Oh, it's the best, man. In fact, I do so many shows, as you know, and every once in a while I get one where I read about it, I do some research, and I say, oh, thank goodness. I get to do something that I love to do, talk about a topic that's all me. I mean, it was built around me. And so getting out of your own way now is just up there in the top 3 all-time topics for me.
Perfect. So for those who don't know anything about you, which might be a good chunk of my audience, tell us just a little bit about yourself, who you are, and then we'll dive into some more questions.
Yeah, so I'm personally on a mission to empower over 1 billion people to be happy. That mission is stemmed from a very eclectic background based on my relationship to money. I was born with nothing, 6 kids, single mom, did everything I could to buy her a house and a car, graduated law school and got into the internet instead. Ended up being a millionaire 9 months out of law school. That company sold for $3.4 billion in 1995, and then went to the Silicon Valley, learned how to raise hundreds of millions of dollars. By the time I was 30, I was a multimillionaire. I ran Samsung's first phone division. They didn't even call them smartphones back then in 99. They called them convergence devices. They converged everything. And then I was blessed to meet a man named Leigh Steinberg, and became CEO of Leigh Steinberg Sports Entertainment, the most notable sports agency in the world. They made the movie Jerry Maguire about Leigh and our firm. Met Warren Moon, the Hall of Fame quarterback, we spun off a company for marketing and media about 12 years ago. Last 4 years, I built my own brand. So I have a top podcast called The Playbook. I have 4 best-selling books. I speak around the world. I have a big coaching practice. I have 2 TV shows, Elevator Pitch with Entrepreneur Magazine, and of course my own show on Bloomberg and Amazon Prime called 2 Minute Drill, which is my new biggest success and hit. And all of that have led me, though, in a journey to establish a new relationship with money. I have this saying, money doesn't buy you love or happiness, but it allows you to shop. And so I teach people to shop for the right things to be happy, not the things they don't need or different things they don't need or to impress people they don't like, but things of value, things that can have impact with the capabilities they have. So that's why I'm here, because I want to teach people what they already have so they can get out of the way so it is present in their lives.
That's perfect. You know, I'm going to let you run with that because I think that's a perfect segue. And by the way, so if you're watching or listening, like this is definitely a guy to listen to. So stop whatever you're doing, unless you're driving. Pay attention to driving. But
pull over.
So, yeah, perfect. Pull over and let's listen. All right. So, what does that mission look like for you? Let's start there. I think.
I think that in context of this show, right? Here's the thing people don't realize: that you already are health, you already are wealth, and you already are happiness. And what we need to do is shift the paradigm or our perspective to figure out, what are we doing to interfere with our health? What are we doing to interfere with our wealth? What are we doing to interfere with our happiness? And that's called getting out of your way, right? Using our free will, not to go get something that we already have, but to use our free will to recognize what it is that is interfering, creating void, shortages, obstacles, or interference or resistance to what we already have, because we are all connected to the greatest source of light, lessons, and love. We are connected to infinity. We just can't fathom what infinity of time, space, or quantified anything is. And so if we can go ahead and blend, I use the word temperance. Temperance is used in metal, where you have hot, cold, and cold, hot water and cold water in order to, create metal. And if you have too much hot water, it's brittle. And if you have too much cold water, the metal ends up brittle. And so that's what I say about persistence and patience. that we still have to have the hot water in our lives. We have to go get it, the law of Goya, get off your ass towards getting rid of what interferes with what we need to allow with patience to come at the right way at the perfect time. And this dance, this nuance is a gift. And when we learn to utilize it as a discipline, as a strategy, which I try to train everyone at Thrive, just to share a quick story, I have gone around the world to empower 1,000 people like Bob. I'm looking for people like Bob that I know can empower 1,000 people in his lifetime to empower another 1,000 to be happy. 1,000 times 1,000's a million, million times 1,000's a billion. I can create a collective consciousness. I humbly can change the world by looking for one person at a time to teach them how to get out of their own way, to teach them what they already have. And the exercise that I do to start that is I give them something to do. Usually it's 30 days and text me or, DM me a thumbs up if you say thank you. Because if you can say thank you before you go to bed and when you wake up for 30 straight days, it is guaranteed to change your life. It's guaranteed to start teaching you. Gratitude will clear a lot of the interference away. It allows you to seek the light, the love, and the lessons. It allows you to see pain, not as a stop sign, but as a turn signal, something that tells you to move or learn a lesson to get to a better place, a better position, or to make your situation better. And so I teach people this, and I speak around the world, as you know, and it's so funny because I challenge everyone and I convince them. I say, look, just every day, send me a big thumbs up if you can say thank you. It'll change your life. I guarantee it. Now, here's the funny thing. I have studied physics, metaphysics, and quantum physics. I am on the Transformational Leadership Council with Bob Proctor, Jack Canfield, Deepak Chopra, Mary Moore, the biggest thought leaders in the world. I have done all of this, and there's only one truth. Even Oprah knows this truth, which is why she has a similar challenge. Gratitude is it, man. You got to learn to say thank you. You got to learn to seek the light, the love, and the lessons and understand your relationship with pain. So I tell everyone this, and here's the saddest thing. I could have 1,000 people by the end of the night, after convincing them with all the proof in the world, half of them won't send me a thumbs up. By the next morning, another half won't send me. Within 3 days, I receive no thumbs ups. Within 3 days. So if you are not listening to this podcast, if you're not listening to this show with the title of Get Out of Your Own Way Now, you're missing the point of life. That we have to live with radical humility. We have to shift our paradigm of free will. We have to utilize the law of attraction, but more importantly, the law of Goya to clear all the interference so the law of attraction will go ahead and send more of what we want. Another thing about getting out of your own way, right? People don't understand time. And I really keep reiterating this because I think this is why we get so far in our own way. Here's the scientific explanation of your show. Hopefully people are listening. Time.
I'm listening. I don't know about anybody else. I don't care about anybody. This is good for me, but I'm sure everybody else is too.
Listen to this. So everyone sees time as in a linear sense. I study time, so I see it as a spiral. I understand the speed of thought moves faster than the speed of light, so I can bend time. I practice refocusing for that reason. But listen to why we get in our own way. So when we want something, 90% of the time, in a linear sense, is spent trying to get that. And we only get to 25% of the way there and 90% of the time. But for some reason, in the mathematical equation of the man-made construct of time, we think that 50% of the way there, 50% of the time, we should be 50% of the way there. But no, it takes 90% of the time to get to 25. Then it doubles to 50% the next 5% and doubles again to 100% the next 5%. Why is this crucial about getting in your own way? Because what happens from 0 time to 90% of the time with our expectations is we start listening to what's missing. We start listening to what other people think and want for us. We start listening to what we don't want. And guess what? We stop. We get out of our own way. We allow the interference, the corrosion, the voids, the shortages, and resistance of other people, what's missing and what we don't want, to get in our way. And then the only determining factor of what can stop us, get in our own way. In other words, think about this math. We start at nothing. We start nowhere. No thing, nowhere. Then we're here. The minute we think about what we want, it's a mathematical advantage over anything else because it goes from nothing to a possibility, right? The minute you think that you want to be a billionaire, agree, mathematically, it's a possibility. The minute you think I can be a billionaire, I can empower over 1 billion people to be happy, that's my possibility. I've gone from 0 to a possibility. Quantitatively, there's an advantage. Then when we become inspired, when we become in spirit, allow it to come through us with appreciation, forgiveness, and accountability, this inspiration that we have, we actually then take the possibility, and when we become inspired, because we have the desire that we must be what we can be to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential, it becomes a probability, a mathematical advantage, the possibility to probability. So now, without doing anything other than using my higher power of thinking, by staying out of my own way, clearing the interference between me and what inspires me for what I want, the idea of what I want, I have a probability in my life. And then guess what? There's only one thing in our way to make the probability our perspective or our reality. Only one thing, us. So I teach people, right, through discipline, believe it or not, through strategy and awareness, to get out of their own way, which you already have, and make your possibilities your probabilities, and your probabilities your perspective or your reality. That's how we get out of our own way now.
I literally don't even know what to say. I'm like, okay, we're good. We can shut this episode off.
I'm going to talk about now. I'm going to talk about now real quick then, because I think here's another a little bit of an addition to your show. So most people worry about their why. So they're emotionally attached to their why. They emotionally attach an outcome to that why, and then they create resistance by attaching their emotions to an outcome. Instead, what I want people to do is think of your what instead of the why. Think about what I want personally, what I want experientially, what I want giving wise, and most importantly, what I want to receive. You are worthy of everything you receive. You're worthy. You're not an imposter. You're worthy of it. Don't get in your own way and not think that you don't know your what experientially, giving, receiving, or even personally. Know your what. Don't be afraid of being a hypocrite. Be radically humble. Accept change. Accept the fact that you don't know what you don't know. Then find your who. Getting out of your own way is asking for help. And the easiest way to get what you want is to find someone that has it or is already there and ask them for directions or to give it to you. People are too afraid to ask for their who. Then you go to the how, which we talked about, possibility, probabilities, or perspective, by utilizing attention plus intention to equal the coincidences that we want in our life, the mathematical equation of luck. Then listen to this word. So you got your what, your who, your how. Now is the now. The fourth step is now. What does now mean? Now means that everything that you do now gets done. 100% of the things you do now get done. Anything else creates resistance.
So simple, but so powerful.
It is, because what makes the difference between successful people and others? People who don't get in their way and others. People that are out of their own way get stuff done. People that are in their way are procrastinators. What are procrastinators? People who get in their own way and don't get shit done. So do things now. Ask yourself, can I do it now? And if you can do it now according to the values of what, who, and how, then do it now. If you can't, then go ahead and place it into your calendar for later in the day or later in the week, determinative upon what? Once again, your values of what's important. Utilize Roosevelt's matrix of importance versus urgency. Go ahead and prioritize what's important first, not what's urgent. You can delegate urgent things that are unimportant. So utilizing that. And then finally is a fifth step beyond the what, the who, the how, and the now. Now you go to that practice of ending fear to identify what's creating the interference between you and what you already have. Stopping, not resisting it, going over it, under it, overselling it, back end selling it, going through it, but instead just stopping, dropping down to your higher self, where your higher self is neutrality, where you have and you are out of your own way. That baseline. The reason I meditate is so I can plateau and grow each day by finding a baseline through being quiet of where that peace or center or the place where I'm out of my own way, where my ego and other things are not interfering between me and what I'm connected to, infinity. And then finally, it allows me to roll in the right direction without me in my own way. So if you know your what, your how, your what, your who, your how, your now, and your why, you're right there to get out of your own way now.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so I have two questions. One, maybe the shorter answer. So you said you meditate every morning to sort of find a baseline of where you're at. for anyone who hasn't done meditation before, is there a starting point, or do you just sit there quietly? Like, tell me a little bit more about what that looks like for you.
Awesome question, because I had this problem when I started meditating. So the least likely person.
By the way, I'm like 3 weeks into starting my meditation.
Nice.
and I still struggle with it. And so
here's the advice.
I know other people do too.
Yeah, I struggled heavily. I've been doing it 16 years, so I struggled heavy. My wife still can't believe I meditate every day. That's how far beyond her belief of my change has been. But more importantly, here's what I wish someone would have told me when I started, from my experience of being a resistant, completely lost meditator. Number one, your tomorrow starts today. So the first step in meditation is to have an unwinding routine at night, to make sure that you don't have alcohol or caffeine beyond a certain point, not have stressful conversations or content or anxiety before. And an unwinding routine is important for two reasons. Because, the biggest habit that we all share is our sleep. Everyone on earth, almost everyone on earth, spends 6 to 8 hours every single day in this habit. And it's a habit that allows us, one, to recuperate our bodies, but also it's the only time that we're out of our own way. Our conscious and subconscious mind take over. Our ego doesn't allow us to put us in our own way. And yet we interrupt our sleep with getting in our own way. And then we're not as rested in the morning, and we don't plateau and grow. If you don't sleep right, if you don't have an unwinding routine, then you're living the myth of Sisyphus, meaning you push a boulder to the top of the hill all day long just to have it roll down to the bottom the next day. What I'm teaching you is your tomorrow starts today by utilizing an unwinding routine. That's the start of your meditative practice, because it allows you to wake up at a higher frequency. No longer at the bottom of the mountain. You're at a higher plateau. Now, the second piece of advice that I wish somebody
would... Wait, hold on. So do you meditate at night before you go to bed as part of your practice?
I don't meditate. Or? I just have a routine that allows me to unwind.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no meditation. Just I unwind. So I don't watch stressful things, listen, read, study. I don't have difficult conversations with my kids or my wife. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do bumps of cocaine before I go to bed. Just don't do things that are wire you up. Do unwinding routines, because my objective is I need to pass out before 11. So at 9 p.m., my tomorrow starts at 9 p.m. because I start unwinding. And by 11 every night, I'm passed out. So the minimum amount of sleep, uninterrupted sleep without my ego, is 5 hours minimum. Sometimes I'm passed out by 9:05, so I get 7. Anyway, what it allows you to do, though, is it puts you into a different place when you wake up. So many people wake up with resistance, anxiety, stress. They wake up at a lower spot at the bottom of the hill. This allows you, number one, to be in the best state of mind to meditate, which is simply this. And here's the best piece of advice that I got. It's from the CEO of Muse, which is a meditative thing to put around your head.
Yeah.
She said, all meditation is the practice of being quiet. So the practice of being quiet. I used to sit there and go like, what am I supposed to be thinking? Oh shit, what is that?
This is the same question I have all the time.
Yeah. I stress myself out. But once I realized that meditation is the practice of just being quiet. So if I start hearing the voices, the negativity, I start feeling stress, my job is just to quiet it and to practice quieting it, knowing that my ultimate goal is to spend minutes and moments outside of that peace, of that center, of our higher selves, of our potential, instead of days, weeks, months, and years where I've spent the majority of my life with a need to be right, getting in my own way, a need to be offended, getting in my own way, a need to be separate, inferior, superior, getting in my own way, a need to be anxious, worried, angry, frustrated, guilty, resentful, all getting in my own way. In fact, one of my mentors told me, worrying, because I was a big worrier. I don't know if anyone out there worries. I was a huge worrier. I think it was genetically implanted into my quantum being. Worrying is wishing for what you don't want. Worrying is wishing for what you don't want. That'll help you stop worrying. So have an unwinding routine and practice quieting yourself so that you only spend minutes and moments getting in your own way, and you will realize what you already have, and things will exponentially grow, accelerate, and get easier for you, and things will come to you more rapidly and accurately. Thus, the success that you have will reinforce the practices that you develop.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I know we only had a short time together, so I appreciate you being on. I know you also have a Friday thing happening, so tell us a little bit about that and where folks can go find you if they want.
I really appreciate it. I do free Friday trainings for over 20 years. Email me. I put it up there,
They're
David.
great, by the way. I've been on a bunch of them. If you're listening, go check them out.
Yeah, and the replays are all my biggest success. I got to tell you this, Bob, because you know me a little while now. So I have a huge podcast that I was built on celebrities, athletes, entertainers, billionaires, millionaires, entrepreneurs. I've had Deepak Chopra, Cameron Diaz, you know, Danica Pat, you name it, I've had them, right? And yet today, the replays of my free Friday trainings are the #1 downloaded podcast that I have. That's my biggest success.
That says everything. That's all you need to know.
So email me. I give my exercises, my guides, my books for free. You know, everything from 5 to Thrive to selling to ego-based training to mommy issue training. Everything I give for free. David@dmeltzer.com. I'm here to be of service, and I appreciate you being one of my 1,000, Bob.
Absolutely. I'm honored to be. So thank you for being on. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon in person, hopefully.
Yeah, me too. I really hope so. And thanks again. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.